Rabbi Leo Dee, shalom.
Shalom.
Husband of Lucy, father of Maya and Rina, who were murdered by Arab terrorists in the Jordan Valley. Last night, IDF forces demolished the home of one of the terrorists who killed your daughters and wife. First of all, what is your response? What are your feelings about that?
I feel it's very symbolic, I think, at this time when we are destroying evil in Gaza, that an attack was made on this house, and I think destroying the evil location of these people.
And when many discuss and relate to this whole issue of demolishing homes as something that is controversial, they talk about the family, the surroundings, why should they suffer? You have proof that the family members, those surrounding, are part of that terror.
So when the tragedy happened, I had two questions which I stated I'd like to ask the family, which was why did they do it and what was their vision for a better future? And on my behalf, a number of journalists went into the house of the mother and the wife and actually asked these questions. And one of those was a film that I think you're going to show. And the mother says, we want to kill every Jew with our fingernails. I assume that's in Israel and around the world. And the wife said that she has a vision for her son becoming a martyr like his father.
And that proves it all.
So I don't have sympathy for the family of the terrorist.
So these are very difficult days. If during the past years we had terrible tragedies like your tragedy of your family, we at least had the opportunity to focus and be with you, hear your cry, your call, your feelings. It's impossible to comprehend what's going on now. Families, tragedies. You're out there meeting the families.
I've had the honor of meeting some of the Bereaved families. I went to a couple of shivers recently, and I'm just blown away by how strong they are and how strong that community is and how they're holding together, supporting one another. Absolutely incredible and really amazing people.
What do you tell them? What is your message to them? Is there any way where you can strengthen?
I met with an amazing gentleman called Avida Becha, who lost a leg, he lost his wife, he lost his son in a safe room in Bereaved. They were under attack for 12 solid hours, undefended by these Hamas terrorists who were trying to kill them for 12 hours solidly, sending in grenades into their safe room. And I said to him, one of the things that helped us was that at the end of the Shloshim, which is not where he is at the moment, but at the end of the Shloshim, I said to my kids, I said that we're now entering phase 2 of our lives, episode 2. We had episode 1, 2 parents and 5 kids. We're now episode 2, 1 parent and 3 kids. And it's not the same, but it's going to be happy. And we're going to move forward and we'll have all the memories of episode 1, but it's very different. It's a new world.
How do you look at what happened? You always try to speak about the fact that there has to be some sort of hope. We have to fight evil, but there should be some hope. You talk about your Arab neighbors. Where are we going? Have we learned this is an awakening? What happened?
This, I think this really is about freeing Palestine from Hamas. I think that the Palestinians I know, I don't know how many there are of them, I'm assuming they are the majority, would like to live in freedom and prosperity, and they cannot speak up against these evil regimes. They don't want to be under the Palestinian Authority, they don't want to be under Fatah, they don't want to be under Islamic Jihad, they don't want to be under Hamas, and they can't say that, and in fact they'll probably be seen cheering the acts of Hamas, but secretly they would be the first ones to see their demise, to cheer at their demise.
So in the long run, according to what you're saying, it'll be also for their benefit if Israel takes control.
Completely. I mean, I think that's absolutely right.
Now, where were you when you heard about what was happening?
We had just finished the Parshat Bereshit on Simchat Torah, and the first siren went off. And then, of course, news started coming in over Simchat Torah as people were called up to the front. And I think how apt it was that this happened on Simchat Torah at the beginning of Parshat Bereshit, when we talk about a new world. Because just as I said, this is episode 2 of my life. This was episode 2 of Medinat Yisrael. Episode 1 finished just before Simchat Torah. Episode 2 started on Simchat Torah. And it's a new world, complete new world. Vayhi Or, There was light. There was a new light. Sunday morning, everybody in the world woke up to see that there was a new truth, that there is good and there is evil in the world. And the evil did us a favor by marching down the streets and continues to march down the streets of London, Paris, New York, and Miami.
But even that is deteriorating. The support that we felt that Sunday morning, it's not there anymore.
The average person, I think, in the Western world can see the difference between good and evil. They might be too scared to confront it, just like our Palestinian friends in Gaza or in Yehuda v'Shamron, and they'd be happy to just pretend it's not there. But actually, it's very much there, and it's very much in front of them. And God forbid, it could escalate in the West, become terrorism could grow substantially in the next few weeks, and then I think the amount of support for Israel will grow exponentially.
Now, again, back to what you were talking about, your understanding of the Arab society, there was a hope that because Gaza was able to bring in the resources they needed, they went to work in Israel, that would give them a logical reason not to attack. And that's what Israel thought.
We made a huge mistake, and something which I woke up to only in the last 6 months, that we were allowing them to build tunnels. We knew about the tunnels. We were allowing them to train their kids from the age of 10, maybe sometimes from 5, to become terrorists. We know exactly the sort of brainwashing they had to kill Jews wherever they find them. And we know they were paying pay for slay, $350 million a year to terrorists. So the terrorists that killed my wife and my kids, their families, including this woman who wants to kill every Jew and the wife who wants her son to become a terrorist, they will receive $1 million over their lifetime from pay for slay, funded by the European Union via UNRWA and so forth. So we were aware of this, and this has been happening for 20, 30 years. We allowed them to train their kids to hate us and to kill us.
Are you optimistic? Because there is a feeling of unity, there's a feeling of something else. Just before this was happening, we were expecting controversy, protest, maybe even violence in Tel Aviv about religious versus non-religious. You were also part of all this controversy. Are we at a different stage, or everything is going to go back?
I think that there was unity even beforehand. It just wasn't visible unity. It was sort of visibly not unified, but actually the unity was there. And as you know, that on the day after this tragedy, they called up the Miluim, the reservists for the Air Force. And they expected 60% to turn up because 40% had previously been threatening not to turn up. In fact, 120% turned up because 20% of people said, we're coming anyway, even though you didn't ask us. So we went from 60% unity to 120% unity in an instant. And I think that's just demonstrative of the fact that we always had the unity. It was just that it wasn't visible.
So maybe that also should teach us how we should have related to those threats when they came out.
Well, I think that before we look at each other as enemies, we should look at what the real enemy is. And we just ignored that. And somehow it got overlooked.
So again, does this give you optimism when you see the unity, when you see the togetherness?
I am totally optimistic. About the Jewish people. We are more unified than ever. And I hope that we can maintain this when the threat is no longer there. And as far as the Gazan situation is concerned, the moment we wipe out Hamas, which please God will be very soon, we will be much safer. The Palestinian people will be much safer, and we can live in peace and prosperity together.
How do you look at the demand that we're hearing from the families of the hostages? Again, we cannot judge them, but you're hearing this demand. Yes, release all the prisoners of the terrorists in order that they release all our hostages.
Right. I think that any person who was in their situation would be saying exactly the same thing. And of course, there's the call of the families, which is one call. There's another call from the army and the military, which is another call. And I'm glad I'm not in a position that I would have to make a decision.
But you don't want to present your opinion on that?
I don't really have an opinion. I think that it's probably the most difficult decision. Of course, the terrorists are playing on the fact that we are a democratic society, but not only that, the Jews are the most caring people, the most loving people, the most unified people, as we can see. So they're playing completely on our weakness here. And we're in a complete quandary. I think that in most other free democratic countries would not have any problem acting very very directly and fighting and losing the hostages. But as Jews, and with tremendously huge hearts, we're all suffering here. And that's the reason that they took the hostages.
Oh. Rabbi Leo Dee, thank you very much for being with us. And we all pray for better days. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.